Good morning, everyone. This is Bill Klingberg with SCORE here in Houston. Welcome to our webinar on effective social media. First of all, some housekeeping. If you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box down at the bottom of the screen, and the moderator will will answer questions as we go along or at the end. At the very end, there is also a polling question where we ask two questions. One is to rate the webinar. We appreciate your feedback, please. And the second one is a little bit about SCORE. The key to using SCORE mentors is to get a mentor and to find one that has been there and done that in the market or in the business that you are going into. For instance, if you're interested in a restaurant, I am not your guy because I sold pumps my entire life. All I do in a restaurant is go in, eat, pay, and leave. But we do have mentors at SCORE that own restaurants and can discuss problems with you. In addition, we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have manufacturing folks, we have sales and marketing, we have people from different industries, so that you go to our website, houston.score.org, and click on Find a Mentor. This is going to come up later in the presentation during the polling questions, so you don't need to write it down now. But if you have questions, we are free and we are confidential. We have 150 members here in Houston and 11,000 nationwide. And that being said, our sponsor today is Houston Community College, and I'm happy to introduce Ravi Brahmbhatt, who's going to give you a few words of wisdom about them. Thanks. Cheers, Ravi.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you so much, Bill. Greatly appreciate the partnership that we have with SCORE at HCC. I've got a quick presentation on what we do at HCC and the different types of services that we have for small business owners, and intend to pass it over to Anna right after. So let me quickly share my screen and our presentation. Anna, you're gonna have to be my eyes and ears as I do this. As I share my entire screen, it won't be, oops, I won't be able to see. Yeah, are you able to see my screen, Anna? Just a thumbs up or, all right, perfect. So hello, everybody. My name is Ravi Brahmbhatt. I'm the Director for Student Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Houston Community College. And really my role at the college is to build a culture that champions collaboration, creativity, and innovation. I've got a fun job. I get to work with students, aspiring entrepreneurs, small business owners, and established business owners look for their next growth opportunities at HCC. For all of you who are here to learn about social media and effective use of social media today, I want to reach out to you and say, hey, we've got competitions where we need mentors. You guys will fit the bill, especially if you're looking for inspiring young entrepreneurs. We've got pitch competitions. We host workshops like the one you're attending today for small business owners. We work with chambers and associations. If you've got a group that you want us to offer trainings on, reach out to us and let us know. And lastly, again, our goal is to build that culture that champions creativity and innovation. If you've got anything you want to do, Houston Community College has tremendous resources, such as the 3 Center for Entrepreneurship that we have at 3 different colleges. We have one at Northwest College, where we focus primarily on the business plan competition and our Media Arts and Engineering Center of Excellence. We've got a center at the Southeast Campus that focuses primarily on women entrepreneurship programs, bilingual programs, also hosts our Business Center for Excellence. And then we have the one that I run is the Center for Entrepreneurship at the Southwest College, where again, we focus on student innovation and entrepreneurship. Our Center of Excellence includes digital information tech, which means we've got the coders, the programmers, but also the advanced manufacturing, which means we've got the 3D printers and the additive manufacturing capabilities in our Southwest region. So I won't get into too much details about the centers. I will tell you that for folks who want to learn about the MBDA office that we have at the college, if you are in construction, we at MBDA, they help about $192 million of contract, if not more, every year for their clients. So I highly recommend you check out hccs.edu/MBDA and reach out to our office there if you qualify or if you're part of the minority business group. There's tremendous opportunities for federal contracts and subcontracts and so forth with our MBDA office. And then I'll also mention that we have a corporate college for small business owners as well as established businesses that are looking to train their employees. There's even an opportunity to train your employees for free. So an event like what we're having today, if you wanted to have it just for your employees, our corporate college could help you establish a training and then also get the TWC to pay for it. So reach out to Jennifer Holmes there at the corporate college. I've got the number there. And if you like, the website is hccs.edu/corporate. And that's for our training arm at the college. All right, so with that, I know I've got a few more slides, so I'm just gonna make it easy and put the slide that matters the most, which is we're here to help you, and the link to our programs, hccs.edu/small business. There's lots of things we do at the college. We spend about $1 million a day for small business owners. Encourage all of you who are participating to check out that resource and check out all the different programs we have and engage with us. We're here to help you and help you grow. Okay, so with that, Anna, thanks so much for the opportunity and thanks so much for joining and sharing your expertise. I call Anna the genuine entrepreneur, one of the, a close friend, but also just a fantastic individual to know in the startup scene as well as the entrepreneurship scene. So Anna, I'm going to pass it on to you and let you run with the show. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time.
All right. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. Well, first of all, good morning to everyone who is joining us from wherever you are. We have 88 participants, so we are going to honor everyone's time and make sure that we get through a lot of information and give you an opportunity to answer questions, ask questions so that we can answer them. So as Bill mentioned before, we're going to do a few questions after each section, and then we will leave time for questions at the end. For those of you that are asking, we will be able to share the slides with you all, so you don't have to worry about jotting everything down. We will be issuing that. So first and foremost, thank you so much to SCORE and HCC for putting on this webinar with 93 participants now. We know that this is a really important topic. As a small business owner, I know that social media is something that people want you to use, but it's not as intuitive as we would hope. So we want to make sure that you all leave here with a lot of information and a lot of resources, because there's no webinar that can encompass all of the things that you're going to ever need to know about social media. As Ravi mentioned, I am an entrepreneur. My business is Orole. It is a lifestyle apparel brand for breastfeeding mothers. And I have Ravi very much to thank for my entrepreneurial journey, as he did help me in many ways. And HCC is a wonderful place for resources. They do incredible workshops in English y en español. And so we definitely encourage you to tap into those resources. SCORE, Willie is a mentor of mine and has been very, very helpful, if not encouraging, through these very difficult times. So yeah, with that being said, I would love to introduce you Jennifer Perez Medina. Jennifer and I met through the Houston Latina Blogger Network, which is 200 plus bloggers strong here in Houston that specifically promote the Latina community. And she is she calls herself a social media strategist, but there's so much more to what she does. Her background is in news editing, in public relations. So not only has she been in the private sector, but in the public sector, and really understands a lot of the nuances. She dedicates her time to learning every single new trend that comes out, And I'm so thankful to be a part of her Facebook group, which she will give you the information to become a part of, because as a business owner, I don't have time to research trends and tips and tricks. So I'm very thankful for people like Jennifer who does this for a living, on top of all the conferences that she's created. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer. I will be fielding the questions that I can answer via the text. And then at the end of the section, I will choose a certain amount of questions to ask so that we can keep the flow going. So with that being said, Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much, HCC and SCORE, for this amazing opportunity to present to you guys. You know, I really appreciate this opportunity to present to a network. There's always a new network to talk to. There's always people that need help. Like, there is never, a lot of people think, well, social media is so old, I can't jump on that train. You know, it's already past. It's not true. Let me tell you how it's never too late to jump on and to start a new page, to start a group, or whatever it is that you need for your business. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started on the presentation. And we can, let me first share, and then share here, share, present. There we go. And Anna, please let me know if you're able to see my screen. Can you give me a thumbs up?
You're good. I
Perfect.
took my video off so everybody can focus on you.
No worries. Thank you so, so much. Again, today's presentation, we're talking about effective social media strategies. And what is that? You know, when other people think, you know, well, I'm already on social media, what do I do with it next? And a strategy essentially is taking one of the tools or several of the tools that the platforms offer you and use it to grow your business. So we're going to be covering those things today. As Anna sweetly introduced me, you know, I do have a background in news writing. I come from journalism and a PR background, but for the most part, you'll recognize me for my pink wearing, you know, clothing. I always talk about my family, and, you know, my son plays baseball, and on the weekends, that's what I do. I cheer, more like yell really loud. And then I have a 3, soon to be 4-year-old that acts like a 15-year-old. And of course, I have my lovely husband who's incredibly supportive, and he's also an entrepreneur. And so we do a lot of work together. And so I'm so proud to present you guys with my family, my why, the reason why I do what I do. Some of the things that I share about in my business is the way I do business. And I'm sure that all of you have these kinds of pillars in the way you promote and share and do business. I love to work with people who are loyal, who have high values, and who serve their community, and who do it in a very passionate and empathetic way. And also the reason why I do business this way is because I'm looking for, you know, financial independence, and I promote that for women entrepreneurship. Growing up Hispanic is something that, you know, we're not raised to do. And so it's the reason I want to set an example for other Hispanic women that we're able to, you know, get involved in entrepreneurship and have our own businesses and to build a legacy as well. So that's a little bit about me. And the agenda for today, we're going to be talking about picking the right platform. We're going to talk about maximizing your social media real estate and what that means. And then we're going to get to the growth strategies. And then at the end, we'll have Q&A. I know Anna mentioned that we're going to have a couple of questions in between the sections. So go ahead and start dropping your questions. If you think of anything while I'm presenting, in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Some things that my clients talk about with me about the times when after we work together and I work with them with their content or their social media strategy. They always come to me with not knowing what to say. That's always one of the biggest things. And so they talk about how now they feel their work is intentional and they're not worried about vanity metrics. And I'm going to talk to you about what that is. And they feel like they're making stronger connections, and they're no longer afraid of sounding too salesy or getting in front of a camera to share themselves and be the face of their brand. So a lot of that that mentality comes from understanding how to use social media. So I want you to keep that in mind, that however you feel about it now, the moment you start understanding how the strategies work is going to shift that mindset. The moment that mindset shifts to understanding that social media is something that's supposed to help you, you're going to feel much more comfortable sharing in social media through your business. So the first thing, we're going to talk about picking the right platform. The reason we want to make sure that you are using the right platform is because we want to know where your people are. Understanding that there's multiple platforms to use. You always, there's this myth that you have to be everywhere. I'm here to tell you that in my perspective is that you don't have to be in every social media platform. And that's because not every person is going to buy from you. Right? Not every single person is an ideal target audience. Who is your ideal target audience? Do you know who that is? I grabbed some data. I'm very data-driven individual when it comes to your social media. Because I could sit here and tell you, let's just write content and write it and share it. But that's not really purposeful or intentional or smart. You really have to understand what platform your ideal target audience is, and whether that's a man or a woman, what age range, what demographic they are, nationality, do they have certain, have they gone to school, have they not, where do they live, in urban areas, in the suburbs. And this, I know y'all don't see it, but I'm gonna move my screen here. This comes from the Pew Research Center. It's a very reputable organization that does this for us, gathers all this data that helps us, like a lot of social media data. They do research on a whole other topics, but I love it because they also do things on social media, and it helps my work a lot. It makes things easier for me to understand. So when I'm talking to clients, they tell me, well, this is my target audience, this is how old they are, and these are their habits and things like that. I can automatically look at this data, and it helps me understand where that person's ideal target audience is. So you can definitely find this information. And again, we're going to send this presentation over to you guys. And so the moment you understand where your target audience is, it's going to be much easier for you to understand what platform to use. Sounds very simple, right? Well, it is, based on, all you have to do is look at this data and, look at the data points and say, for example, my ideal target audience is a woman. I work with women entrepreneurs, right? So here they are. And then based on the highest number is Facebook. They're in the 30 to 65 age range. So they are going to be mostly, again, on Facebook. And then they are a plethora of nationalities. So no matter what nationality it is, it all keeps sending me back to Facebook based on these data points. The second one would be Instagram based on these data points. So I always recommend, if you're just starting off, choose one platform, get comfortable, learn it, get consistent with it, then add on platforms to your marketing plan. You have to be really strategic about where you're spending your time and effort and funds. So if you spread yourself too thin and try to be everywhere, you're really not going to be effective anywhere. Here's another data chart. And keep in mind, these charts are based from research gathered back in 2019. I've had conversations recently with people about what the data is going to look like this year. And I'm like, 2020 is going to be so skewed. So many people, a lot of people are home right now. So that means the people online has increased, and there's been a surge on, e-commerce and, so some social media usage and data plans growing. So the data points that come out for this year, early 2021, I'm just going to be all over because they're going to be different. And I think that they're going to mark the way we do business moving forward. So again, this is coming from the Pew Research Center. So you're more than happy to, Google Pew Research Center, social media data, and you're going to find them. Here, like I mentioned, depending on what your preference of social media platform is, it shows you over the years how the usage has increased. It's not going anywhere. Pick the right one for you. Oh, so that was, Anna, I don't know, before we move on to this next section, if there's any questions about picking your right platform and where to find your ideal customers?
Yes. So we actually had a really great question for Corrine. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name properly. And it's a good question. So she's asking what if your favorite platform is Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Data says that your ideal client spends more time on Facebook. Is there any way to make it work for both parties, and knowing that Facebook is new to you as a business owner? So some of us have used social media personally, and I agree. I also personally enjoy Instagram more than Facebook. But either how do we motivate ourselves to get on platforms we don't necessarily enjoy, and what integration that exists on Instagram and Facebook that actually makes that quite smooth?
Right. So we're talking about two things. Not loving the platform, which I get, depending on what age demographic you're in, you prefer one platform over the other. You feel like that's your parents' platform. And once your parents or grandparents jump onto a platform, you're like, I'm gone, right? Depending on what generation we're talking about. However, we have to really think about where, if you're interested in growing your business, you're gonna have to get comfortable with where that customer is. Now, that customer may be in multiple platforms. So don't get discouraged that maybe you may not love it and you're like, I don't want to spend too much time on Facebook. I'm gonna dedicate my strategy to Instagram, which I love. Cool, because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company, right? So Facebook owns Instagram. And so there's these tools where you can cross-post content. Cross-posting means I post it on Instagram and then it'll automatically publish to your Facebook if you connect them. The only issue with that is depending on if you're using them organically, where you're posting to the platform and then connecting it and auto publishing, your hashtags are going to go directly to Facebook too. Now, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves because I was going to talk about this in the trends at the end, but as of last week, hashtags count for search and engagement on Facebook. Breaking news. Before last week, that was not, like, people would be like, okay, why are people cross-posting? You know, it's a different, we don't use hashtags on Facebook. It looks this way or looks bad or looks tacky, whatever. It's not visually appealing. Now, hashtags are relevant on Facebook. And I think it's Facebook's way of trying to push the use of the platform, because so many people are migrating out of it into Instagram, into the competitor like Snapchat or TikTok. So Zuckerberg is always trying to find new ways to attract people to use the platform, especially business owners. There's these tools that, you know, we use for our benefit, free tools on Facebook. So the answer would be, okay, you don't love it very much, but you still want to stay present there. You want to have a presence there because that's where your customer base is strong, and you want to use the cross-posting. That's totally doable. Understand, however, that there's going to be changes or edits that you're going to have to do. For example, on Instagram, you'll say, oh, check out the link in bio. Well, in Facebook, you don't have a link in bio, right? So you're going to have to make those edits. So it's still usable. Cross-posting is still, like, you know, effective. However, you're going to have to go in and make some edits.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point to make, which we will talk about later, about making sure that we're individualizing the posts on each platform to maximize their effectiveness. But part of the work that's been done for you is that all you have to do is go in and edit.
Correct.
You go into. So just be prepared to do the work on Instagram, but there's still a little bit more work that you will have to do. And the good news is Facebook will allow you to do links, whereas Instagram doesn't. So instead of click link in bio, you go back into your Facebook posts and you can just, hey, click here. So there are some perks and pitfalls. Thank you so much. We're getting a lot of questions, which I'm going to field, but we're going to move on into the next topic so that we really have enough time to cover all the details. And I promise everyone, Jennifer will be sharing the link to connect with her for a free consultation. So if we don't get to your questions now and or at the end, there are still resources.
Yes. And I'm thinking maybe like whatever questions don't get answered, maybe I'll do a live or something in my group and I can answer them and people can come in and watch. Whatever.
Perfect. Okay. We're going to be moving on to the next section now.
Yes. Perfect. And the next section is maximizing your social media real estate. Okay. So what is your social media real estate. Okay, your social media real estate is all the space that the platforms give you to use to promote yourself, right? To sell yourself, to market yourself. So I did a little screenshot of my page specifically on Facebook, and I also have an example on Instagram. So those are the two major platforms that I like to talk about most. And I'm gonna go one by one of what to make sure that you're using this space and maximizing the tools that the Facebook business pages gives you so you can promote your business. So we're going to start with your profile picture. A lot of people like to either use an image of themselves, if they're the face of their brand, or use their logo. Either one works well. Just make sure that you stay consistent and use either a similar image or a logo in your other platforms. You want to build that consistency and that recognition from people, so that way they see you and your brand colors, they see your logo, they recognize you for who you are and who your brand is. It's very important to make sure you have something that's recognizable and impactful on your profile picture. Now, as you notice, there's a little plus sign here on the profile picture, and that maybe it's been the last year, 2 years, last year, I believe, where Facebook took the concept of stories from Instagram, which it was doing incredibly well, continues to do amazing on Instagram, and copied it over to Facebook and added that tool onto Facebook for people to try to replicate that success. It's not as successful. It's steadily growing. People don't watch stories as much on Facebook as they do on Instagram, but it's still a tool. Additionally, they cross it over and they show up on your Messenger tab. So Facebook is really showing that they're pushing this tool using stories because they see a lot of the activity there on their platforms. So you can do two things here on this profile picture: is take advantage of that brand recognition through an image, and then add stories for whatever you have going on, an event, sharing about a program that you have, any behind the scenes. So you can add as many pictures as you want. They stay alive for 24 hours here on Facebook, and then they disappear. So make sure that you're using those tools to the best of your ability. Next, let's go down here, right under. So if you see, the name of my page is the Socially Connected. Right under is the handle, right? So we're used to using handles on Instagram, and before it wasn't such a big deal on Facebook, but now Facebook allows you to edit the name of your handle. Now, why would that be important? Well, whenever you are sending out the link up to your page, it's not facebook.com/1,300,456789110. Now you're able to share your page. It's facebook.com/the socially connected, and it's a direct link to your page. That's very, very important, because now you're not having to, go find the link and to share it. It's something that is recognizable to you and to the people that you share it with. It's not something that they have to memorize. They know your name. They can automatically find your page this way. So that is a really great. Make sure that this handle is a name that you want. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't edited to fit the name of your brand, then I suggest you go do that today. Then we're going to jump over to, we're just going to go down. We're going to talk about more social media real estate groups. Groups is another tool that Facebook provides. Now, one of the reasons that groups have been around for a little while, for a few years, but recently have become increasingly popular because there is no algorithm within a group. So you're going to post and everybody in the group is going to see that. It's not like they have to fight with anybody else's post. So that is the major reason why people use groups to market their business. There is millions upon millions of groups in existence, and it's for businesses or for personal reasons. People are connecting, people crafting, people selling, and they do so because they don't have to fight the algorithm. And it's one of the main reasons that people stick around on Facebook, because of this great, amazing tool. So tools is another space for you to market your business. And let me go back up here. This is what we call the Facebook cover. I took the screenshot at the wrong time of the video. I apologize. It's kind of split here. So I use my Facebook cover. I have a video. I will switch it around sometimes with images. You're allowed a slideshow. So you can have promoting something, giving a call to action, talking about a group, promoting anything that you want, right? You create that image or a photo, right? And you edit it and you put it up there. So a lot of people like forget that that Facebook cover can be changed. It doesn't have to be static or stagnant. And you can add video as well. I have a promotional video. So if you go to my Facebook page right now, you'll see the entire video play. And so this Facebook cover is a great space to promote your business in as much as you want. Like I said, you can, I believe it's like 4 or 5 pictures that you can add, or you can add a video instead. And here, top of the fold, I come from news. So I don't know if you still read the newspaper, you understand what top of the fold is everything above the fold. And so that's the way I see my Facebook page, everything that's going on the top of the page. Under the Facebook cover, we have a call to action button. This real estate space is very important because you want to tell your visitors, your followers, what to do. Right now, I have a campaign where I'm promoting my group. I'm trying to grow my group because I have, at the end of this year, I have a promotion that I'm going to be having specifically to people in my group. So I want to grow that group to grow my audience and grow my numbers. So right now, my call to action button is to get people interested in my group. There is send message, book call. Facebook allows you to connect that button to your calendar scheduling system. If you have one, Acuity, Calendly, there's multiple companies where you can use to schedule calendar appointments and connect them on the back end. So your call to action, use it. It's important. Front, almost center, but it's right there under your Facebook cover. And it's like first or second thing people see when they jump to your page, when they come to your page. Then we have here a cutoff, but it's still landed on top of the fold. It's what it's called our story section. And depending on what template, but I think most templates, if you have a business template, your Facebook page is on a business template, it'll allow you to have something called our story. And it shows up in the front page, but it also shows up if you go in the about section. And so it allows you to have, imagine an image at the top, just like what a Facebook cover is, but then it allows you space for text, and you can add links to it. And it's, I use it specifically to share my story, how I started, a little bit of my bio, and then I have a call to action to send people to my website. So that space I recommend you to use is just another place where you could add any kinds of images, like I said, and talk about any promotions that you may have. Don't leave it blank. Please don't leave it blank. Please use that space. It's so, so important. And then lastly here on top of the fold is your create a post. The most important space of all, right? It's for us to create posts and share updates, news, promos, or anything that you want to share on your page. Posting should be your priority when using your business page. There was one thing else that I didn't add specifically. Not sure I considered it social media real estate, but these buttons here, going live, creating an event, an offer, promoting a job, all of these buttons are tools and strategies to bring more attention to your page and your business. So I suggest you go dig into your business page and learn more about what tools are available to you. You can always change things when you go here up to your edit page info and your settings, add events in the events tab, add services in your services tab. And we're going to talk about that in the bottom of the fold. So the bottom half of the page, we have a couple more tools. The services tab that I mentioned, like I said, depending on what kind of business, what template your business page is on, and you can find that on your settings. It determines the kind of menu that you have, and if you add the business one or the shop one adds services, and you can include, and this is what it would look like without an image, and you can add your different services. You can connect this to a system to book a call with you on the back end. So there's all these tools in place and this space for you to promote yourself and your services for free, guys, for free. So take advantage of that. The next thing we have here is, don't ever forget this space here, the community. I have people, like after today, I'm sure people are gonna find me on, it happens after every presentation that I give, will try to find me on Facebook and send me a friend request first before they go like my page, or vice versa. They'll go like my page and then they'll send me a friend request. For the most part, if you're a woman entrepreneur, I will take that request, but I will put you in a list. I'll segment you into my women entrepreneurs section. But whenever I do get all these people who become my new friends, I make sure to invite them to my page if they don't automatically like it after I friend them. So from time to time, when I get an influx of friends, I go in and I invite them to like my page. Don't forget to do that. I think sometimes people forget. I know I forget from time to time. And then last here is the about. The about section. The reason I pointed it here is because our story shows up here in the about section again. And it like I said, it helps promote your business a little bit further. So that's a lot, right? I know that there's a lot of spaces on your Facebook business page where you can share about you, but that's the awesome part, because you can take advantage of whichever tools they have available for you. On Instagram, so I got a couple of an example here, and I'm showing it on the back. Let me move these tabs. So whenever you are building an Instagram profile, there's very specific on Instagram. It's a tighter space where you can capture people. And so we have to be very succinct and concise and intentional about this real estate, because it's limited. So first thing is we have our profile picture. And this is what it looks like on the back end when you add the picture. And then on the front end here, as you recall, there's that plus sign again where you add stories. You can add them here from the profile image, or if you swipe left, swipe right. Swipe right on your Instagram, you'll be able to add stories that way as well. So that's a really important part. Your profile picture, again, make sure that it represents your branding and that is recognizable, and that you're using it cohesively in other places on the internet. Your name. Now, if you notice, my handle here is arrive_conference, but I did not, please note, use it again in the name section. Why? Because on the front end, you already see my name here. Oops, sorry. You already see arrive_conference. What I want to do, because everything on your bio is searchable, I want to put terms that people can find me for. So instead of using Arrive Conference again and it being redundant, I use Conference for Women, because that's what, when people are searching, that's how I want them to find me. Conference for Women, and it shows up here. Again, the username up here. And then the next thing we talk about here on Instagram is the website. Well, no, not the website. Let's talk here. The order on the front end is different. It's your bio. So you have about 150 characters or so to tell people what you do. A lot of people like to put things that they love. I'm a wine drinker. I'm a fur mom. I love to travel. And that's cool if you have the space. However, people want to know what you can do for them. So keep that in mind whenever you're writing your bio. This explains, for example, it's a digital marketing. And if you notice, it's a hashtag. A couple of years back, sorry, time is relative for me now, because all these new things are constantly popping up. You weren't able to use hashtags or handles within a bio. Now you can. So I hashtag this very searchable term so that people can find my account. So digital marketing, virtual conference for women, who's it for? We succeed by getting there together. That hashtag, that's our tagline. Find speaker resources, and I use emojis to make it fun, right? But I really timed up that bio so that it tells you exactly who it's for, what we do, and how we're gonna do it. And which brings me to the link, right? It's pointing down to the link. Instagram, the sad thing about Instagram is you can only use one link, right? And you can only use it in your bio. You cannot add links to captions in your posts. They won't hyperlink. They're not clickable. So you have to be very intentional about what link you put in your bio. So two options here. If you notice, we use something called Linktree in this profile. Linktree is a third party. We're going to talk about third party tools. And I just recalled that I didn't put that one in there, but I'm going to talk about it right now. Linktree allows you to have a page where you have multiple links lined up, and it gives you one master link for you to put in your profile. So when you click on that link, it shows you multiple links. If you're writing a post and you said, today, I want to share about my website. It's check out the link in bio. And tomorrow you do a post. Oh, I want to share about my Facebook group. Check out the link in bio. Well, you don't want to be constantly having to change out that link. So Linktree allows you to have this one master link, and within it, it opens up to a list of all these different links that you can have. So that's one way to approach this. A second way to approach this is if you replicate, and this is what I suggest to people with websites, replicate what Linktree is doing on your own website. And I'll tell you why. Last year, Linktree broke down, as in like the internet. There were some days, I do recall several, last year, Instagram was down, and it wasn't Instagram, it was Linktree, and it crashed. And so people couldn't say link in bio, and everybody was having a panic attack. You don't own Linktree, right? Because you don't own Instagram, but you have a higher power and ownership over your website. Website servers are much stronger. The technology is way more advanced than it is on these social media platforms or these new third-party apps that are maybe at a few years old. So two options. Linktree is fast, easy, it's already developed, or you can have your developer or you create a page on your website depending on how tech savvy you are. And so that's Linktree. And then we go and talk about the next social media real estate space in Instagram are your call to action buttons. So depending on the front end, it's right here, it's going to say edit profile because I'm the owner of this, but you wouldn't see this button on the front end. But I have calls to actions to email us. I believe that's the only one that I have on the front end. You can add a phone number, you can add a book now, directions if you have a brick and mortar, and all of that is decided here on the back end on the contact options, excuse me. Okay, so whatever buttons you want to display, you can edit them here. Add your address and it'll give you directions, and it opens up to maps. And then the next thing, so that's your call to action button. The next thing is going to be your highlights. And I know that I only have it's already 11:45. Sorry about that. So highlights are essentially the home for any stories that you want to keep past 24 hours. So we know stories have an expiration date. They're done after 24 hours, they disappear. If you want to keep them, you create a highlight. Think of it as a highlight reel. And you can click on it and it adds any stories that you have uploaded in the past. And now there's an archive. There didn't used to be an archive. Anything that you posted and you didn't save disappeared. So now you're able to save them onto your camera roll from Instagram, and you can add them. So you can upload them from your camera roll or download them from your stories. Hope that makes sense. So people use them. This one, for example, we're highlighting the speakers that we had in the conference, details about what times, dates, who the founders were, and then some screenshots of the day of the conference. Right? And then lastly here we have our posts, right? Our feed is most important, most visually effective social media real estate that you can have and maximize to your ability, making sure you're doing it with consistency. So that is that section. Anna?
Okay, we have been getting a ton of questions. I've been doing my best to respond through the chat. So hopefully you guys are getting those responses and everyone can see. One really great question, super important that I see a lot happen. DeAndrea asks, should we create a separate Facebook page from our personal? Because I know sometimes what we see is we see people create regular Facebook profiles as if it is a person, but used as a business. There are many, many pros and cons to that. So if you can share a little bit more about why it is important to separate the two, specifically in what tools you're allowed to use versus tools you aren't. A lot of people are asking the questions about how often should they post, and how to create content, which we are going to cover in the next section. As Jennifer mentioned, because there's so much we're trying to cover, we will likely run over time. I myself am personally still available. Jennifer, if you are still available, we can continue on through the conversation. So we can give you all so much time. We can't give you too much time afterwards because, as she mentioned, she's a mommy. I am also a mommy.
I may have a toddler that comes. If you hear banging on the door, you've been warned.
So we will definitely keep it going, but just be aware there might be children, dogs, animals after our 1 hour of don't disturb mom time is up, because everyone is always very well aware of that time. So I know that you're going to cover the how much to post, how do I create posts in the next section, but if you can just talk a little bit about the importance of separating the personal and the professional, because you can do that on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, people do that on LinkedIn as well. And we're not going to talk about LinkedIn because that is a whole other topic, but well worth looking into, and maybe we'll do another webinar on that because it is a very underutilized tool. So
it is. Right. Yeah. Story for another day. God, that's a whole nother hour, right? So the difference between creating a personal profile and a business profile. Number one, it's against Facebook's terms of service to sell anything on your personal profile. Do people get away with it and find loopholes? Yes. People share from their business page over to their personal page. People will mention their line of business, their products, or, mention. There's all these like fine lines that people are constantly weaving through when using their personal profiles to sell or share about their services. However, if you're full blown, and mind you, maybe the algorithm may not have caught up with you yet, but I have seen cases where people get kicked out of Facebook, all platforms, everything gone and lost because they violated those terms. They get red flagged, none of their stuff gets posted or seen, and then all of a sudden you see your business crumble because you didn't want to use a business page and instead you used a personal profile. Now, the reason why Facebook pushes Facebook business pages, obviously, is ad revenue for Facebook. That's very important to them. They're still a business at the end of the day. However, it also provides you with all these tools that I just went through, all this, and they're free, in essence, tools. So they try to provide you with this information and with these tools for you to use to grow your business. And then on top of that, you're given analytics and insights. So that's the major difference between separating your personal profile and your Facebook business page. You don't get analytics. You don't know who's visiting. You don't know who's seen. You're only seeing the front end, which is likes, share, comments, right? Likes, shares, and comments. How on the back end, on the analytics side, you're able to see what's working and what's not, how much reach, how many impressions, is video doing better than images? Is this like not working at all? How your growth trends are, and all of that helps with building your strategy as you keep going. And so the major asset or incentive to use business pages is, for me, that alone, because I'm such a data nerd, right? However, I also want to be able to keep my personal business personal. Unless I allow you to come into my profile, like if I just met you, I might not necessarily allow you, like become friends with you right away, or if ever. Like I said, I do allow women entrepreneurs onto my as friends, but I segment you and I restrict access to my personal profile. And after a while that gets, if you're constantly getting these friends requests from strangers, that can get overwhelming. So it's a matter of finding that fine line. If you're cool with people seeing your personal page because you have that personal support of friends and likes and shares, cool. Ride that fine line. However, be warned that, you know, it may eventually catch up to you. I also find that on your personal page, like you have your family and your friends and colleagues, friends from college, friends from high school, your grandma, whomever, are they your ideal target audience? Is that who you're going to be pitching your business to? That is also a major differentiator between doing business on your personal profile than your business. So I hope that answers your question. Anna, was there a secondary part to that question? Or should I move on?
No, you can go ahead and move on. We're going to try to wrap up this last section in 15 minutes.
Sorry, and I'm gonna try to talk fast. Okay, so tools. So we talked about tools. Anna talked about tools so that we could repurpose content. She asked me to share about this, or different tools that make it easier to use social media. I was talking about Linktree earlier, right? That helps us with posts with multiple links on Instagram. Then I use something called Later. Later is a scheduling system that lets me schedule my posts to Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. There are other platforms out there that allow you to post to LinkedIn. They allow you to post to, what's that other platform? Snapchat. And so it depends. You have to do your research, which one works better for you, which some come with visual planners for posts, the calendar, the times. Some give you analytics. Later gives you analytics on the paid platform. So it tells you when your followers are online. So that way you can post at that time where it gets maximum exposure. So I love Later. Like if you want to learn more about Later, I can send you an email. Canva. I created this presentation on Canva. I'm presenting directly from Canva, which is a new thing that they rolled out these last couple of months with the influx of people using Zoom and presentations and all that stuff. So I love Canva for content creation. We develop graphics, videos, GIFs, presentations. They even allow you to print pictures, and they're moving into the printing space. So Canva, I love it. Evergreen content, repurposing content. Okay, so evergreen content, what does that mean? It's content that can live on forever. And usually you see it in blog posts, webinar like these, articles, and social media posts that are general enough that you could use them every few months or every few weeks. So repurposing content, all of these tools help you be more efficient with your content, I guess. And that's the best way to, when talking about repurposing content, that's the best way to put it. Later, making it easy to schedule to multiple platforms. Canva, being able to design, they have templates. And then when you have evergreen content, you're able to reuse that in different spaces, in different platforms. You know, it could be your website, and then you can share that blog post to your Facebook, and then you grab an image from that blog post and share a caption on Instagram. You can do a live video answering questions about that blog post. So you have to start thinking about the content that you put out. Can it be evergreen content? Can you constantly be bringing it back? Wave.video is a platform that has video templates, and it has all these snippets already pre-created that you can just create a video on your platform in like 15 minutes. Even if you're like not video savvy, it's really awesome. I've used it, it's great. Email marketing, another way to repurpose your content. When you're sending emails out to your email list, you can reuse graphics and captions that you've already written out, sharing a blog post that you've already written. Think about ways when you're creating your content, these are different ways that you can share it, but ways of keeping it evergreen. That way you're not in the constant creating. Hope that makes sense for you guys. And again, you're going to be getting this presentation. Now we're going to dive into the growth strategies. Okay, let me take a breath. Okay, growth is one of the main reasons that you're here, right? We've talked about different strategies, but the growth strategies are like, okay, how do I get to 1,000? How do I get to 10,000 to 1 million? before we go into that, I want you to think about platforms. As they've gotten smarter, they're making it harder to grow organically. That's upfront disclaimer. It's hard to grow organically. And what does that mean? It means if you don't put any money in ads. Disclaiming it, it's out there. If you want to grow quickly, you're going to have to make an investment on these platforms. At the end of the day, like I said, these platforms are still businesses and they still need to make money off of their users. So with that said, one of the things that I teach or tell my clients the way we're going to grow their platforms is it's all based on content. The quality of your content, the quality of your story, and how compelling it is enough to make the person stop their scroll, right? We want that person to stop, look, watch, listen, read, and engage. At the end of the day, the platforms are all about engagement. If your content makes people engage, the platform rewards you with bringing it up higher on people's news feeds, keeping it alive longer, and allowing it to live for a longer period of time until it disappears in internet oblivion, right? So engagement, it means you got to provoke conversations, people to react. You want people to resonate with the story that you're telling. You want them to feel a very specific way, and compelling enough. The image has to be compelling, the video has to be compelling, so that you stand out from your competitors. And so we're talking about, okay, let's write compelling content. Let's talk about creating amazing posts. Like, okay, so what do I say? What do I write? So I want you to think about these 3 different types of content that will help you, will cause your audience to engage. We're talking about interactive content. What does that mean? We're talking about questions, quizzes, games, contests, anything that is going to give the power back to the reader, right? So one of the things that people always complain about is like, oh, the algorithm controls everything that I see. Well, yes and no. If you engage with a brand, the more you engage with that brand, the more of their content they're going to see. So you do have control over what you see in your newsfeed. Let me say that again. The more you interact with a brand, the more you're going to see them in your feed. So essentially, you're telling the algorithm, I want to see more of this. Okay? So it's important that whenever you're creating content and you look at your analytics, you say, okay, people are reacting more to this content. Let me give them more of this. All right? So that's how it all that ties together. So interactive content. Secondly, emotional. So we want visceral reactions. I know as of recently in the last 4 or 5 months, there's been a lot of emotional content out there that causes rage, that causes anger, sadness, some happiness, some hope in the world, you know, and so it makes you stop, right? You read, you're sharing this content. I'm seeing it over and over, and you see it in the shares. Anything that causes people to feel a very certain way that resonates with them, that's going to cause engagement. Okay, and then we have promotional, and I don't mean like I'm selling. All I do is sell, you know, no, we're talking about things that provide value. You can promote your business without selling. You can educate people, you can inform people. And the biggest reason why you want to do this is because you want to send out. The only difference between a big corporation and you, a small business within the platforms, is that obviously their budget's way bigger. However, you still have a face in front of that brand. Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Target. While I kind of like Targets, you know, but you as a small business is still you, right? You still have that connection. You can still, like, I'm a mom. I'm a baseball mom. I'm a dance mom. I still have these day-to-day things that you as a human being can connect with versus the big retailers or the big corporations that you really don't. That may not get your struggle, that may not understand how you're feeling, because a business a big corporation doesn't experience things, right? So that builds a relationship with, that person is building a relationship with you, not just your brand, because they're building it with you personally. And so that equals to building that rapport and building that brand loyalty. So it'd be easier for that person to say, oh my gosh, I know this person who sells bows, and I'm just going to say an example for my daughter. I'd rather support a small business, like woman-owned business that makes bows, than go buy it at a Walmart or a Target, or a children's place. I'd rather support that mom because she's making it with her hands. I know that it's going to pay for her vacation. It's going to pay for her daughter's dance class. So small businesses have actually an edge over big corporations in the matter that you are able to build that direct relationship with your audience. And that's gold. That's gold. So interactive, emotional, promotional. That's the type of content that's going to engage. Now, the storytelling piece, right, to this is important because some people I've seen that write captions like, oh, I do this and this. You can go find me at this website. It's like 2 lines and that's it. I'm sorry to tell you that kind of post is really not going to get any traction, right? A lot of people say, well, I don't want to read a whole book, right? And that's cool and everything, but I will tell you, research shows that what we call long form storytelling, long form posts are on the rise. They've been on the rise over and over and over. And I know that you're going to start seeing it now that I've said it on your news feeds. It's kind of one of those things where the internet's listening. Long form posts are being read, they're being liked, they're being used a lot and are on the rise. So consider, you testing a long story or a long post compared to a shorter post and see how that does. And then you can decide for yourself. But what we want to include in that kind of story and that kind of post is you want to add meaning and value. At the end of the post, you want people to think, I took away something from this, not like, oh, well, that was the waste of my time. You want it to be clear and concise. Still have a direct line of messaging of what you're telling them. You want it to resonate, and you want to build that like, know, and trust factor. That's what LK&T means. If you're familiar with networking as a small business owner should, you want to introduce yourself and get people to like you, to know you, to trust you. And you're doing the same thing, but online through your posts, right? So right now, since we're stuck at home for the most part, how are you networking? How are you sharing about yourself and your business? You're using your social media platforms. So you have to see each post as a way of networking, introducing yourself, and building that like, know, and trust factor with your audience. And then at the end of the day, it's about building a community. One of the reasons that social media platforms were created was to build community, to build connection. And so in order to do that, you must be willing to share, to create a safe space, and to encourage loyalty with your followers and audience by showing up consistently. So that's my formula for compelling people to stop their scroll. Okay, content formats. So you're like, okay, I should get them to interact, feel a certain way. We want that. I want to write a story, but you're like, okay, now I'm sitting in front of my desk. What do I do now? Type up a little the caption, the story. What is the visual? So here's a chart, again, based on data. Sprout Social is a third-party social media scheduler, but they also do a lot of data research for social media, and they build a lot of analytics and all that. And so they came up with this last year as far as how each different format performs. Now, I want to keep in mind that every industry is different, right? Just be like my ideal target is women entrepreneurs. That may not be your target, and they may not act the same way as everybody else. That's why it's very important for you to understand your analytics. But in a general scope of things, images do well. So don't ever post anything without an image. It just really gets lost in the thread. Video up there. As soon as, we were allowed to use video, it skyrocketed. Text-based posts, like I said, they don't do as well. Stories are on the rise. Interactive content, live videos, GIFs. At the end of the day, I always think about whenever I'm about to hit publish, I think, does this represent my brand? Does it speak for me? Does it stand for me? Does it represent my values? And can people share it? Can people learn something from it and share it and pass it along? So that's how I gauge what I post out into the world. Format wise, you can plug in an image, a video, a story. and you can choose any one of these formats, but it's important that whatever is behind it, the story, the intention, really resonates with you first, and before you put it out there. And then engagement. So we talked about the kind of content, the type of formats, what we want people to feel when they're reading that story. Now, why does all of that matter as it pertains to growth? Because like at the very beginning, I said, engagement is the metric that social media platforms use to gauge how valuable you are in their platform. So we're talking about comments, likes, shares, people messaging you or your page, people commenting on your page, you commenting on other people's pages. All of that counts as engagement, and it goes into your data and your analytics. People clicking your call to action buttons, or looking at your profile, or clicking at your website links, all of those things, DMs, replies on stories, even the action on your stories counts for your analytics and engagement. So that's why it's important to have high quality, high and valuable content, so that you get these reactions, so that the platform algorithm can reward you and keep you alive longer on the platforms. So I know there was a question before I go into that. How does it all work together, right? So we're talking about presenting engageable content, engaging with consistency, giving them good calls to actions so that they can do something. At the end of the story that they read, you send them to your website, you send them to call you, to book an appointment on the link, having a clear call to action. All of that is going to equal growth. And keep in mind, growth is not just followers. And I was told to make this very clear, and I want to disclaim it. Vanity metrics, which means your follower count, does not equal dollars. What I want you to understand is that what you want is phone calls. You want to book appointments. You want to be able to, unless you're selling a product and you're setting up shop on these platforms, what you want to be able to do is move these people along to get them from being very cold, like I don't know you, to hot, I want to buy from you now. Give me whatever you have to buy. I want to buy right now, right? I have about close to 2,000 followers on Instagram. That does not mean I have X amount of clients. I have a full roster. I can't take on any people right now. I have to wait till September. And so it's important for us to understand that you could have 1 million followers, but number one, can you really take on that much business? Are you ready? Is your website ready? Is it going to crash? Do you have a team to support you to do all those things? So let's not worry so much about the vanity metrics and worry about how we are serving and helping these people who are following you already, who maybe no matter how big your audience is, you could be at 50, you could be at 500, 1,000, wherever you are in the number spectrum. How are you serving them, and what's going to get them closer to buying from you? Sorry. Okay. That's it, Anna. Oh my gosh. Only 10 minutes over.
Well, 10 minutes over, but we have a ton of questions, which I have continuously tried to answer that I could as we went through. For some of you, you had questions. This is actually a really good one who was paying attention to the slide. User-generated content. Mm-hmm. What is it? Why is it important? And why do we want it? We want it. We want it big time.
Yeah. So it's user-generated content, or UGC, is content that somebody else creates and tags you, is about you, features you, highlights you, raves about your products and services. It's somebody else shouting you out, in essence, right? And why do we want it? Because it opens us up to a brand new network. Somebody, like all these people that don't follow us, don't know us, and now they're hearing about us from this person that they trust because they follow them, right? And now I'm like, oh, I got to go check them out because she said so. And she's raving about this product and I got to check it out, right? So instead of a commercial telling you buy this product, this is a human being. User-generated content produces trust, right? And you can't buy that. Like you cannot pay enough money to buy.
In theory, because one of the things that we said we were going to promise to cover was influencers.
Yes.
And so before we even talk about that, there is a lot of information that is constantly coming forward. There are regulations that are now being centered around the use of influencers,
Yes.
their responsibility to their audience. The reason they are so powerful, as Jennifer mentioned, is because now they are being given a brand new audience, and it's delivered in such an authentic way that it builds that trust that you have been trying to build as a business. But that trust has been broken many times now, so much so that all sorts of organizations are coming together and saying, wait 1 minute, you can't just operate like this. You can't pay someone $1 million and tell someone that the skinny tea is really, really great for them.
You mean the Kardashian effect?
I mean, a ton of people, but they are one of the, and so myself, I am considered an influencer, again, close to 30,000 followers through various social media platforms. And I get emails from companies to say, hey, we have, and one specifically was, hey, we're a protein shake company, but something sounded off, and they said it's a weight loss, but specifically targeting breastfeeding women. So when I tell you that these specific companies are really trying to look for specific people, they exist. I had just had a child, and through things that I posted, they were aware that I was in fact breastfeeding. So they approached me to promote, for a lot of money, to promote this tea. So when Jennifer talks about your voice being very important, everything that you post is a reflection of you, and every person who you ask to post something is a reflection of your business. So you want to have people that turn down money because you want that voice to be authentic. So now if anybody hears anything from me, they know it's like body positive related, breastfeeding related, entrepreneur related, social justice related, because at no point did I ever hold up a little can of anything and say, you know what I really love?
Right.
This.
And you can stand proud to say that, you know, and it's true. So let me take a step back and say,
Yes.
okay, you can't buy trust. Okay. In a pre-influencer social media world, user-generated content was awesome, right? And influencers didn't really start to take shape until maybe the last 7 years, maybe give or take, maybe 10. You know, it used to be just celebrity sponsored, you know, products, and people like corporations would lean on celebrity influence on people more and more as bloggers or people of influence in social media platforms got comfortable with promoting items. It got out of hand because there was people talking about, well, here's the product that I'm sponsoring. However, they would go home and use the competitor, or they would be photographed using the competitor. So it wasn't authentic or genuine. In the last couple of years, research shows that people are getting tired of that lack of integrity and inauthenticity. So it's inauthentic. And so there's still a lot of influencers out there that do it the right way, but there's a reason why the laws got put in place, that you have to notify people sponsored by or in partnership with, whereas before somebody could be promoting a product and you didn't even know that they were getting paid for it. So now that's against the law, and so now they're more regulated, and there's continues to be regulations around it, around the use of these products and the way they're promoted and the way they get paid. Ultimately, marketers found a way to build this stream of income this way. There's people who live off of Amazon links or who have residual income from a brand rep, whether it's, you know, a piece of clothing, whether it's a shake, or it exists. And celebrities are taking it to a higher level and getting paid in the 6 figures plus. still using their celebrity and influence and followers to promote it. But it happens to everyday people. Anybody, like you said, you've built your brand, it's taking you time and effort, and you stand by your values, which is very important. I feel like you staying true to your brand, being transparent with your audience and transparent with people. I love it when you post and you like, this person trying to get me to do this, but
Not on my
not on my watch. Right, not on my watch. So people are speaking out about it, and I think that in the social media world, you can't escape it. You can't hide from it anymore. So you have to truly be authentic and be representative of your brands. And then as a small business owner, if you're ever collaborating or partnering with an influencer, it's important that you vet them. That just because they have like a ton of followers doesn't make them legit, if that is the right word to use, or, right for your brand or right for you. That covers that.
Okay, while we still have a ton of questions, we are going to go ahead and wrap up. Jennifer, she's going to share her contact information on the next slide, which now I'm like super jealous. I didn't realize you could present straight from Canva, so this is my new favorite thing to do. I learned something today, so thank you.
I just learned this last month, and I love their templates, and yeah, go Canva. And I'm not even an affiliate, disclaiming that. Not an affiliate.
I have to do that for everything. I'm like, I'm just supporting it because I love it. But no, none of us are, maybe we should have said that ahead of time. We don't and are not paid by any of these companies.
No.
We're just supporters of what they do.
Correct.
That includes HCC and SCORE because they're wonderful resources to our community. Entrepreneurship is a long marathon. This is not a sprint. If you feel overwhelmed,
you are.
You should be, because there's a lot for you to learn on top of your actual business. So Jennifer has posted her information. Her Facebook group is wonderful. She goes live on a regular basis, interacting and things like that. Again, the slides and the presentation will be recorded and be sent to all of the registered participants. And any additional questions, again, please send, but please also be aware that this is the time that we spend volunteering, but we are also business people. So if you are interested in consulting and services, that is our business.
Right. So right here, I know, Anna, you can, and I'm sure whenever you share this, you can share your information too, because you're like, a wealth of information when it comes to the startup and then the influencer side and all kinds of sides. I wanted to share with people that I'm giving away like a free PDF. It's how to write a caption that converts. So we went all through this whole presentation on talking about the content and what kind of format and how, we should be getting people to read our content. Well, now I want to give you a freebie on how to write that caption, right? So the very first link, once you get this presentation, that link will take you to that download. And then if you want to join my group, like you said, I provide news updates. I go live. I take questions. I help you break down your content. And then if you're interested in a 20-minute complimentary consultation, you can book it in my calendar directly, and that link is there too. I appreciate your time so much. I don't know if you're going to want to do maybe a question or two. I don't know how much time we have.
We are definitely over our time, but if you all love this, please, there is a survey at the end. Let SCORE, let everybody know that you want these resources, that you want us back. Si lo quieres en español, we can do it in español. And if you want more detail, like, hey, I really want you to dig deep and dive into Instagram or dig deep and into all these other things. We didn't talk about TikTok, which, well, don't worry about it because it's probably going to get banned in the next few weeks anyway. But your feedback is important. So please take the time. If you spent the extra 15 minutes with us, an extra 2 minutes doing that feedback. But yeah, Ravi, if you have nothing else to say, I will go ahead and end the meeting.
Yeah, yes, we'll end it very soon, but I was going to say, y'all two are rock stars. Y'all did a fantastic job, and I'm very keen on having both of you come back. Definitely do one in Spanish, but let's also consider a deep dive in one of the platforms like Instagram and Facebook, because I could see, you've had lots of questions here, and at one point you're over 120 folks in the room. So very engaging, very informational. You guys made it fun. I call it edutainment. Can't go wrong with edutainment. So thank you for doing an awesome job. You know, we at HCC are very thankful for your volunteerism. You've made the community better by sharing your knowledge, and absolutely want to be thankful for SCORE. Like Anna mentioned, all of this information is going to be on the SCORE Houston's website, the recording. And then we have a YouTube channel at the college with HCC. I'll be uploading this with captions. so we'll be, I mean, it's not really me, it's YouTube and auto transcription, but I'm gonna open it up and share this so that it could be transcribed into multiple languages. YouTube has a feature now. So
Excellent.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for doing what you do, and everybody joining in. The session will end now, and you have everyone's contact information. Feel free to reach out, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy your time and go out there and innovate, build, and support the local economy by buying local.
Definitely. And I have a quick question. Do you know if any of these questions are going to, like, if they can be downloaded, or I don't know if I've ever tried that.
Well, yes. So Zoom, which we're using now, does have a transcript, the chat transcript, the Q&A transcript. Our friend Quincy and also I saw Yusuf. Yusuf Mohammed is the VP of SCORE. He was in the audience there. I know they know how to do this, so they will certainly put it in a Google Drive or so. And I believe Bill Kleinberg, the VP of the Houston group, will be sharing it out to those who registered.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
all the questions about.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, all the questions about what will the presentation be, the recording, even the transcript, will be emailed by Bill Kleinberg, and for those all those in attendance here. Okay, just give them. I think usually takes about 48 to 72 hours.
Oh yeah, no, I can imagine transcribing. The transcribing takes a while. And then, like Anna said, you're going to be emailing. So all our information will be in that email once you send it off.
Especially in the slides, and then also in the chat. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, Anna, you have the.
That's me. I have the power.
Go ahead and
live long and prosper, everyone. Live long and prosper.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.